very heartbreaking, and you can imagine what that family is going through. I'm going to bring back Mpumelelo Zigalala from Zigalala Attorneys. Listening to this family and what they're saying, and listening to what Mr. Fenter said earlier about the possibility of seeing the people who are currently on trial walk out. This is an indictment, I think, of the National Prosecuting Authority. What is it going to mean, to South Africans for their reputation?
It's a huge one, not only on the NPA, but also on the law enforcement agencies. Also on the Minister of Police, as a person who is politically responsible or strategically responsible of making sure that all the structures that are below him are working optimally. There's no way in which we are going to run to if the people that are supposed to be the first deliverers of the first aiders of justice are not doing their job. A person who's a forensic expert would have or ought to have the educational knowledge, experience and training which is required to bring a conviction at the end of the day. Now, if they are going to be the ones who, at the end of the day, are bundling matters such as these ones and are not taking members of the public into confidence, where are we going to have confidence of going and reporting these matters if it would happen to you at a later stage? Let's not also forget the amount of lawsuits that can come back at the end of the day if these 5 accused are then released due to the incompetencies of the police. And it then does not serve its purpose of saying that perjury and defacing the ends of justice is actually a criminal trial and a criminal act if those who are responsible are not going to be brought to book. So at the end of the day, the workings of the law enforcement agencies, the workings of the NPA, the amount of collaboration which happens between the two agencies has been exposed. And it is up to them to rebrand and make sure that they're able to save themselves in this particular case so that if on another matter, not related to this one, a person is then let go or is found not guilty, it would be due to the circumstances and the truthfulness of the evidence which was being brought to court, and it's not being done so at the inadequacies of the law enforcement agencies and the NPA. There was absolutely no reason why there should be two cases, two dockets that can't be consolidated, where consultations cannot take place in a coherent manner, in a manner in which would be able to deliver convictions at the end of the day. It defeats the whole purpose of having police. It defeats the whole purpose of having the NPA as being the people who are going to go to court on our behalf and say you want to provide justice at the end of the day. To hear the family speak like that, they are completely distraught, and you can hear that they are simply saying, we hope and pray that somewhere, somehow, the truth will come out, but we do not believe that this particular process is going to deliver what we are looking for.
Just very quickly, Mr. Fenter, I have to come to you, and then I'm going to also go to Advocate Munsami as well. In terms of the evidence and, of course, the debungling of evidence, etc., the state saying that their clients, that whole application of a trial within a trial, their clients, there's a confession from accused 1 and 2, but it was beat out of them by the police officers who were interrogating them, and then this insinuation that the bullet that is being used as evidence was actually planted there by the police, etc. Would it be advisable for the state to actually bring those alleged confessions as evidence at all?
The process, how it works in a criminal court is the court will go into a trial within a trial as soon as if the state wants to lead this specific evidence and the defense objects, like they have been doing so far against this evidence, the court will go into a trial within a trial, and the court will have to listen to exactly what happened there. Because the allegations from the accused at this stage might be that it was beaten out of them, but it's only raised now. There's certain things that must have been raised maybe earlier. You would have expected these type of things to be raised at the bail application. There's case law to this effect as well. So the court will listen to the evidence from the state. The state will call the person that took this confessions. They will tell the court exactly how they took the confession, if they complied with all the rules around taking confessions. Then the accused themselves will have to testify on how they were beaten, did they report it anyway, and the court will have to make findings at the end of the day if they do indeed believe or about the credibility of either the state witnesses or the accused, and whether this evidence is admissible or not admissible, inadmissible at the end of the day. And it is definitely worth it. If the state is of the opinion that the defense is just reaching for anything or for any branch to try and help themselves out of this mess, they will definitely try and present that evidence.
Advocate Munsami, just very quickly, the team is going to be very upset with me because I'm taking more of their time. So I'm going to ask you to just be a bit short. Your client and the people who were in the house with her, you told my colleague Silindelo Masikane during a press briefing that they were in fact not even called for an identity parade of these 5 guys who are currently in the dock. Does she or the rest of the family believe that the police are actually, or the NPA is trying the right people? Do they recognize any of the 5?
Thank you very much. I think very briefly, I can't speak on behalf of anyone else in the family apart from my client.
Okay.
My client has not been in court, and I have not been able to have the opportunity of interacting with her on the issue of what she does know is that in terms of the identity of the individuals that are there, she was not part of identifying. Now, when the issue that comes up is the issue of confessions being beaten out of accused, I want to say that if we look at the track record of the accused, one finds it very difficult to have to beat a confession out of a person with regard to the murder of a national asset. But secondly, and more importantly, my client, I've raised this consciously with regard to the identity of the accused, their separation in terms of 1 to 4 and 5, but also because the issue here is that my client has never at any point not wanted to be in the witness stand and give evidence. We assumed from the engagements with the state, with the prosecution and the other state apparatus, that we would be given the first opportunity to present the version of events of what transpired on the day. And we were constantly confirmed that there is no such thing. I think when we're speaking about feelings here as well, the aspect of the Pandora's box is open because there are also feelings that are attached to the deceased child, and that's the mother of the deceased child, which is my client. So I don't want us to go into the aspect of wanting to test the waters around feelings when the issue of facts needs to be an evidence in the main, need to be tested and brought then, including that in terms of identification of the suspects.
All right.
So we will then have to raise the process issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Advocate. I know lawyers are unable to actually be short, so I shouldn't have actually taken that opportunity. But thank you to all of you for speaking to us, as well as Silindelo Masikane for that update. I've always wondered whether Kelly Khumalo or those who were in the house do recognize any of the 5 men who are currently on trial for the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. But that was Silindelo Masikane in studio with me, along with Ntabiseng Dubazana, a legal expert from Dubazana Attorneys. We also had Magdalene Munsami, the attorney for Kelly Khumalo. We had Mpumelelo Zigalala from Zigalala Attorneys, as well as, of course, JP Venter from Ulrich Attorneys. Thank you very much to all of them. Don't forget, eNCA will be giving you the coverage of the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial when it resumes tomorrow live, so do stay tuned. Let's take you to a short break. Today continues after that.